Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I am continuing with a message that deals with confronting one's foe. And those of you all who have gotten the book, Know Your Enemy, The Christian's Critic, as well as Face Your Foe on confronting critics, you have already gone through your share of trying to figure out how to deal with your particular situation using the tips provided in those books. One thing that really stands out to me in the Face Your Foe book are those arguments that you need to prepare yourself for when it is time to confront your critic, your enemy, that one that has long had some problems with you, or that one that doesn't ever indicate that there's something wrong, but you know there's something wrong. So they're smiling in your face, but then you're finding out that they're saying all sorts of other things behind your back. So there are some arguments that you need to be prepared for when you get ready to sit down with some of these people. I think part of the reason why a lot of what is on your chest, so to speak, doesn't come out because you end up going into a battle and you have no clue who you're battling. Okay. Remind yourself that it's not the human being that's sitting in front of you that you're battling with. You're not battling with the flesh, but you are battling with the spirits that could be within that person or the spirits that are around that individual. That is why the scriptures warn us to make sure that we're wearing the spiritual armor according to Ephesians 6. Okay. We're going in there wanting to do what's right. Okay. If I'm focused on doing what's right rather than knocking somebody's head off, that's half the battle right there. Okay. That's half the battle, because the enemy, he's going to provoke you to want to hurt somebody. The other thing is that if I'm going into the battle and I'm not going in with wanting peace, okay, to come up out of the situation, I'm just thinking negative, and that the whole thing's going to end badly, then it just might, okay. All of these types of things that we're faced with when it comes to a critic or a difficult person or what have you, we're going to have to make sure that we're thinking beyond the circumstance. We're thinking about peace going in. We're thinking about doing things in love, in truth. We're thinking about walking in righteousness. We're thinking about being mature, as they say, or adult about the situation. Okay? We are reminding ourselves that we are saved and that we don't want to grieve the Holy Ghost. You see, as I'm talking to you, I'm putting on that breastplate of righteousness. I'm putting on the belt of truth. I'm putting on, peace and all of those other things. Okay. Your mind is supposed to be conditioned for battle before you even pick up the phone or sit down with the person. If your mind is not where it's supposed to be, you have no business talking to the individual. You have no business, because if I'm angry on the inside to the point where I feel like I want to hurt somebody, why would I want to sit in front of that individual? That is just too early. Some folks, I'm hearing in the spirit, you're sitting down with people too soon. And that's why you're coming away drained. That's why some of you all have even aged prematurely, because you keep going back into that setting and you know that on the inside, God hasn't even healed you yet from some old stuff from back in 1980 something or 1990 something. But yet you keep coming in there, sitting down with these people, and they're triggering stuff within you that God still hasn't purged from your spirit yet. Why hasn't he? Because he don't want you sitting down with those folks right through here. But my mom told me I should, or my grandma said that I should, or my sister or my brother said that we all need to get along as a family. Yeah, but are they going to be there to pick you up when you have a sudden heart attack or have some type of anxiety issue, or you are fluctuating in your weight because of all the stress? because you still got issues within you. That person still don't like you, and we still ain't going to come to any type of resolve because I'm still grieving something that happened a while back, or I'm still going through over a marriage, or I'm still going through over some children. I got other issues. And then you want to come over here and start talking to me about why did I talk to you in a certain tone? Or you want to come over here and tell me that God told you such and such. I don't want to hear all that. You see, we act prematurely and then we end up suffering as a result. God didn't tell you go over there. God didn't tell you pick up the phone. God didn't tell you send a letter. God didn't tell you anything. You told yourself that, or somebody else told you that. You see? Don't listen to these folks and then get yourself in trouble with the Lord. Some of these folks are not, especially those that are secular, those that are not even thinking about God. And they'll even tell you, oh, I don't pray. Well, then I don't need to be taking any counsel from you. Okay. Oh, no, I'm not into God like that. Oh, really? Okay. Then we got to pass over this one because she might have me doing some stuff I ain't got no business doing. And then you got some other folks that will sit there and they'll encourage the fight. Yeah, going on over there and let her say something. Let her say one word, girl. You could do this and you could do that. Because I remember when I had an issue with my kids, or I remember when, some folks was telling me some stuff, girl. I took okay, really? You really want to take counsel off of somebody like that? And then if you go to jail, are they going to bail you out? 9 times out of 10, they won't. Matter of fact, they're going to forget that they even had that conversation with you. That's how people are. After they gave you all of this tough talk, sassy type of communication about what they wouldn't put up with and all of that, when you get into trouble, they don't bail you out. Come on now. Some of you all know, right? Running their mouths, trying to put you down, trying to, give you some guilt trips or complexes or whatever else. Okay. Meanwhile, they know they wouldn't even take their advice. Matter of fact, if we were a fly on the wall, we would see that they're very subservient to their partners, very, on their knees when it comes to, anything and everything dealing with, their family. Oh, yeah, well, that's my family and I'll do anything for them. But didn't you tell me that you wouldn't tolerate this, that, and the other? Well, we were just talking, You see, people run their mouths a lot. And sometimes those same ones that's running their mouths, they just might be foes. And we don't realize it yet because we haven't went there with them yet. Okay. We haven't had any real talk, real conversation, real truth speaking going on. Okay. This sort of thing with siblings. Let me bring siblings into the picture because we have a lot of siblings in the network that are going through. As a result of parental manipulation, golden child and scapegoat types of stuff, siblings not really getting along or talking to one another, as well as, sons and daughters not talking to parents and so forth. And I can put my hand up on, those things. The reason why the sibling stuff takes place is because we got some folks that just want to keep the peace. Then we got some folks that want to keep up some mess. And then we got some folks that they got issues, okay, a whole lot of them inside their minds, their hearts, their spirits, everything, okay, so they don't have much of a capacity to tolerate too much of anything. And so when you got this sort of thing going on, you usually don't have a support network on facing your foe, whoever that might be, from siblings who got enough stuff going on. And then some of them might encourage you to do something that isn't good either. But that's my mother, or not my mother, but that's my, sister, or that's my brother, or that's my dad, telling me this, that, and the other. And so then you go and you carry that information to someone else, and it turns out to be bad advice. Okay. It's too much of that listening to the family. The Lord was telling me in His spirit, too much of that. He wants a relationship with you. Okay. He doesn't want a relationship through your mother to get to you. He doesn't want a relationship through your father to get to you. He doesn't want a relationship through your sister or your brother to get to you. He wants you to come to Him and start allowing Him to move upon your spirit. Now that message isn't for everyone. It is for some though. Okay, now let's get into these arguments. We need to prepare ourselves. We got the spiritual armor of God. Okay, we're going in. We got the blood covering of Jesus, Ephesians 6. We spent much time praying and fasting. The day has come. The foe has agreed to sit down and talk with us. Now what are we going to do? Well, we've got to make sure that we have at least some idea how this person is going to argue their point, because at some point there is going to be tension. Your head is going to probably hurt a little bit. Your stomach is going to churn. The conversation might be really long or it might be really brief, depending on how willing this person is when it comes to talking, okay, and getting some resolve. So in my book, Face Your Foe on Confronting the Critics, I get into 12 popular fallacious arguments. I'm not going to get into all 12 today. That's why I want you to get the book. Okay. I am going to read an excerpt out of the book and then give you some more commentary, and then that'll close out this message. Here's the excerpt. The following are 12 popular fallacious arguments a critical foe, skeptic, or difficult person might use in order to, number 1, defend his or herself when confronted with truth. Number 2, seduce others into going along with a program, agenda, or personal opinion. Number 3, win friends, take down enemies. And number 4, obtain money, fame, and power. Okay? So there's any number of reasons that the critical foe is going to argue with you. There's something that is taking place. Okay. There's something that they want. Self is definitely the motivation for sitting down and talking with you. I got to get some things off my chest. I got to let her know, oh yeah, that's right, she has an opportunity for me. Okay, let me put on my little smiley face. Oh yeah, I'm going through much right now. Maybe she could help me with this, that, and the other. Okay, so there is something in it for them to agree to sit down and talk with you. If there isn't, then no, I have no reason to talk to you. Okay, what do you have to give to me other than a bunch of sassy mouth or cursing at me or threatening me or disrespecting me? Nope, I'm not interested. So for two people, okay, to sit down and really want to iron some things out, they have to have a reason that primarily deals with self. Now, reading on, fallacies are deceptive, misleading, and phony arguments created to distract, deflect, or cause discourse in order to accomplish wicked, selfish, or manipulative goals. Now, the argument that they present to you may not be truthful. Be prepared for that. Let me say that again. The argument that they may present, their side of the story that they give you, may not be truthful. Okay? It's going to be misleading. It's going to be deceptive. It's going to deflect. It's going to distract. It's going to be some wicked stuff said. It's going to be some diverting your attention from them to somebody else. Okay. Now he or she is going to set up an enemy by using some names so that you'll be mad at that person too. Okay. Because maybe he or she doesn't like that person that much. So you've got to be prepared. All of these things are going to cause what? You to be emotionally upset. And you will be distracted and then, of course, forget what the heck you were going to say. That's why if you are going to sit down with an enemy, you need to make sure that you have all your points written down so that you can stay focused. Every time they want to deviate, you say, okay, back to this point. Okay, let's get back here. Okay, hold on for a minute. We need to focus on this. Yeah, I know you want to tell me about what happened back in 1980, 1990 plus, but no, I need for you to stay here, right here with me. Okay. It's important because we need to get over this. I don't want to carry out this drama for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I don't want to have about 7 conversations about the same old. Let us stay focused on what we need to stay focused on. You will be accused of being controlling. You will be accused of you never let me get a word in. You will be accused of you talk too long. Give me a chance to talk. Okay. Once again, all distractions, because the enemy does not want you to have peace in this. He wants to keep you worried over it. Your goal is to come up out this conversation knowing that you said everything that you possibly could say according to the will of God, not according to yourself. Because a lot of times you want to say stuff that you have no business saying. Your tone of voice might come off as harsh, and then the person is going to want to shut down. You may end up slipping in some curse words and the person may be offended. That is why we don't do things in our own strength. We ask the Lord to help us. If we are getting in a going down that path where we're starting to really upset a person, it would make sense to shut up. Okay? Just tell yourself, you know what? I don't need her to tell me to shut up or him to tell me to shut up. I'm going to shut up. Because I know that if I say one more thing, it's going to be World War III all over again. Okay? Now, reading on. Sometimes a person knows exactly what he or she is doing when making a case for or against something, such as choosing to believe in Christ and following the righteous path. However, other times he or she doesn't understand or know exactly why he or she is so angry and debates. So now let me stop right there. This person doesn't know sometimes why they're angry. Okay. So you might want to play counselor for a minute and ask them, okay, first up, why are you so angry with me? And then let them vent. And of course, is there going to be some, selfish, mean-spirited things that they say? Absolutely. But let them vent and try not to focus on that. Focus on what's on your paper. Okay. Reading on. Typically an argumentative, angry person with unresolved issues, a backslider with emotional or physical issues, or one who has a disdain for righteous living will present any one of these fallacies when talking with sincere Christ followers. Okay? Now, I'm going to get into a few and not all. Like I said, you definitely need to read the book. Okay? One of these fallacies is the, let's see, I'm going to pick a few. The one is the false comparison fallacy, also known as faulty analogy. Okay. When we are giving a false comparison in an argument, we are comparing things which are not comparable. Okay. This is according to the errors of comparison. Now, and by the way, that's on angelfire.com. But when we're given this faulty analogy, okay, this person may say something like, I believe that this should be this way, whatever the issue might be. Let's say that it's a holiday celebration, okay? Then they'll come up with something that has little to do with what you're talking about. And one doesn't have anything to do with the other. So you say, well, no, I don't think that the holiday celebration should be this way. And then they come up with something like, well, so-and-so back in 2000, such and such, when their baby graduated from school, and then we had that party over at such and such, you said this and you did this and blah, blah, blah. Wait a minute. That situation was totally different from this particular celebration that we're talking about having, and we're including some folks that we don't like and blah, blah, blah. And why would you go way back there and talk about this when it has nothing to do with, you see? So that will definitely lead you away from whatever the major points are that need to be discussed. You got to get away from that. Okay. Like I said, stop talking. If you stop talking, they're going to eventually have to shut down, and then you can bring up your next point. Another fallacy that folks like to come up with is that either or fallacy, also known as black or white fallacy or false dilemma. Okay, so you're going to come up with something and it's supposed to be concrete and there's no gray areas, right? Your enemy might come up with this sort of thing, okay? Your foe or whoever you're talking to. And this is one of those things where if you don't do what I tell you to do, then look, this could potentially be disastrous. The whole holiday celebration would just blow up and it would be just terrible. Meanwhile, it's not that serious. Okay, but you're going to make it like either you do this, or if you don't do it, this is what's going to happen. Make sure that if you're going to come up with that type of argument, that what you are saying makes sense and it is factual. Don't come up with any lies, because then you're going to end up having to confess some sin and repent. And God is not going to bless you with whatever it is that you're trying to get accomplished, because now you're showing yourself to be nothing more than a manipulator, a liar. Okay. And here's one other fallacy. And this one is that hasty generalization is also known as a converse fallacy of accident. Okay. Now, the hasty generalization, according to Wikipedia, is a logical fallacy of faulty generalizations by reaching an inductive generalization based on insufficient evidence. Okay. So I'm going to come up with some stuff about, well, back in the day, we did such and such, or that person would do that. Okay. And then when we did, let's say the holiday celebration again. So we did it like that back in the day. And I believed that it's the right way. And I mean, everybody else did it too, But the way that holiday celebration went down, it went down because of specific reasons. It wasn't because that was the tradition. So then you blow that whole thing wide open and you say, no. I know that you want to go back in time and say, well, the family always did this, that, and the other. But just because somebody always does something a certain way doesn't mean that it's right. Okay. You've got to be careful not to get into that yourself. That hasty generalization, these faulty little arguments, coming up with all this false stuff just because you're trying to convince a person that your way is the right way. Bringing up what happened back in the day and how, children respected adults. That's a good one, and we didn't do this and we didn't do that. What kind of argument is that going to solve? Or what kind of argument is that going to prove when a person has issue with you? Not, adults in general, just with you. And it doesn't mean that they are bad. It doesn't mean that they're disrespectful or anything else. It's just that the issue they have is with you. You see? So it's real tempting to try to persuade people into believing something by using all sorts of generalizations that have little to do with what's going on. And then on top of that, they're faulty. They're not even based on anything factual. There's no proof. Let me see pictures. Oh, I don't have pictures. Well, let me see video. No, I don't have video. Well, show me a document. I don't know where that document is. Well, tell me something that so-and-so said so that I can go and approach them then if it's not about you. Well, no, you don't want to do that. Huh? You see, that's why we've got to make sure that prior to sitting down with some folks, we see every possible angle. Of course we can't, but at least we try, that they might come at us with, and then be prepared. But the ultimate goal of the enemy is to get you so confused, so emotional, so crazy to the point where you don't make any progress and you end up coming away from that conversation the same way you were when you went in. Okay? So be prepared. Wear that spiritual armor of God. Make sure that you know that that person is the one that you need to be approaching and not someone else. And don't just go on hearsay. Do a little investigating. Find out if things are accurate. Then when you sit down with the individual, be prepared for any type of generalization, argument that's false. And also, I would say, know what you're going to do, afterward. If there's consequences that one has to pay, then make sure you let that person know what those consequences are as a result of what they said or what they did. If there are no consequences and you just want everything to be peaceful and happy and kind of like the way it once was, which it usually doesn't ever go back to the good old days, at least express to them that's what you want, that you're not interested in continuing a battle with them any longer, that they are free to, proceed in life and do whatever they want to do. They don't have to call you or come around or anything. You just wanted to, address the issue. And then that's it. That's it. You're free to go. He or she's free to go. Okay. It doesn't have to be difficult, but we can make this whole business of facing a foe difficult because we are not ready to get rid of some stuff. And that's why I don't advise anybody going into any type of confrontation with someone prematurely. And if they're bringing it to you and you're not ready, you can just politely say, I'm not ready to talk to you right now. I'm really not. Okay. And they'll say, well, why? And you say, because the things that might come out my mouth might set us back even further than we already are, you see. So I thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. As always, to God be the glory. Please do get my books, Know Your Enemy, The Christian's Critic, and also Face Your Foe on Confronting the Critics. Thank you, and God bless.